Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I am Coach Lily Alabonte, and today I'm going to be talking to you about narcissistic women and how these women think, what it's like to be in her mind. Because understand that this is something that's going to liberate you, because you're going to see through the manipulation, through the gaslighting. And not only are you going to see through these things, but you're also going to understand why this is happening, and you will be able to not only predict the next step, but also avoid getting into the same trap the next time. So let's go ahead and dive in and talk about what is going on in the mind of a narcissistic woman, especially in relationships. So as I already said, the lack of empathy, right? Lack of emotional empathy. Don't get it confused with cognitive empathy, because many of my clients are married to women who are so smart. They have so much cognitive empathy that they have acquired, and they're able to manipulate everyone around them with that cognitive empathy. I have one client who is married to a Christian marriage counselor that doesn't abuse anyone except for him in the four walls of their bedroom. Imagine how confusing that is. A lot of the time, these women will be working in fields like psychology, or they'll be nurses or some social workers, because again, that's where they can pick up on the cues. That's where they can pick up on this cognitive empathy, really master it, and be able to mirror it to the world so that they can manipulate others better. Now, this is where you understand that her manipulation is quite strategic. It's not innocent. Why do they not have emotional empathy? So it's both nature and nurture. I've seen people grow up in the same families where one turns out to be a narcissist and another turns out to be like an empath on steroids, not wanting for anybody to feel bad in their circle, and they will be very tuned into everyone around, making sure that everybody's doing good and put themselves last, which is also not healthy, because empaths need to have very strong boundaries, okay? Otherwise, everybody's going to use them and abuse them. But narcissists, it's that predisposition plus the environmental factors. So the nurturing part, so obviously if they grow up in very adverse conditions where love is never shown, they have to build walls to basically survive. So there's no sense of self, but they basically create this persona that they put out into the world that is lovable. And the other route here is if the person is raised by a mom or a dad or both that are putting them on a pedestal, and narcissism is mirrored in the family, so they pick up on it, and that's how they turn out. Now, again, it doesn't excuse the person, okay, for them to treat you this way, because I know that you might be thinking that this woman is doing things unconsciously, but most of the time it's very conscious and strategic and sadistic. But the way she thinks is that you deserve it, because in her head she blames you for everything wrong that happened in her life. And it's like when you first have that love bombing stage, the idealization stage, it's like she takes a snapshot of you, okay, and then you go ahead and do something human down the road, and she's like, oh my god, you lied to me. That's how she thinks, and then she starts to punish you for it, okay? You've probably heard from your narcissist that I'm not responsible for other people's feelings or emotions, and that is how they truly feel. So aside from the lack of emotional empathy, narcissists have a very hard time with vulnerability. So your narcissistic woman, you've probably seen her get very disgusted with you if you feel weak, if you feel vulnerable, if you're sick, or if something happened at work and maybe you got laid off. She's never going to be the person by your side comforting you, maybe for like a day, but very quickly that's going to become very uncomfortable for her, and she's basically going to tell you to get it together. Because if you're weak, if I think that you're weak, then I feel weak, because we're attached at hip. Okay, so if you make me feel weak, I have to punish you for it, and you're going to be disgusting to me, because again, I don't feel emotional empathy. I can't put myself in your shoes and actually feel sorry for you. Even if somebody close to you dies, I can't feel it for you. I can mimic what I think people would do in that situation. Like if you're grieving a loved one, I will hold you and comfort you, but very quickly, because immediately I'm going to feel so weak and disgusted with you, with myself. So yes, she will mock you, she will be disgusted with you, because she will truly blame you for making her feel weak. Now, very important point, this woman thinks very transactionally. So every relationship she has in her life, she's thinking, what is in it for me? Just like any narcissist. But specifically in relationships, understand that a female narcissist will pick a partner very strategically. She's not going to go out there and find a guy that she doesn't see potential in, okay? She's going to pick a person. She's going to pick a man who's got the fill, okay? Protector, hero with integrity and love. A man that is going to do anything for his family, okay? A man that if she discloses her vulnerabilities to you, you're going to want to save her. And that is not healthy, because again, you're not here to save anyone. If you feel the need to save others, if that is what you associate love with, then you need to go on your journey, find yourself, heal yourself, at least get to a better place where there's no need for that, so that you're not manipulated by these kind of women and people in general, okay? So this woman will pick a man that will want to save her, typically. She will out for a guy who has money or who has a lot of potential to make money, because in her head she's looking for a provider and she's not looking to give anything in return. And because she is a narcissist, the universe revolves around her. The ego is very boosted all the time, whether there's real reasons for it or not, because sometimes they can be very covert with a big ego, but in a way where the whole world is against me. I could be this incredible person, but this is the cards that I'm dealing with. So that's what you need to understand. Whether it's going to be a shy, reserved girl or a very promiscuous sexual girl, in her head, everyone revolves around her. So if everything revolves around me, then I'm supposed to be also the center of your universe, and we're not equal, right? You're beneath me. It's the queen and servant dynamic. You may not see it in the beginning, obviously, in the idealization stage, but in her head, she's already plotting that you're working for her. When you guys get married, she's got no intention to pitch into anything. And because it's a woman, and because in her head as a narcissist, she's most likely prioritizing being a mother, because what will society think of me if I don't have children as a woman? She's going to try to create this picture perfect family because that is what she's prioritizing. She's going to try to have kids pretty quickly to lock you in, because if I have kids with you, then you're not going anywhere, because you're a man that will do anything for his family. So when I actually lock you in with children and a mortgage, that's when my real face comes out and I can really abuse you, because now I understand that I have invested so much into you that you're not going anywhere. Now, the way that this woman thinks is she will truly believe that you're never going to go anywhere. Whatever she does, she will obviously start slow and condition you to the abuse, right? But she will constantly put you down and mock you very strategically so that you feel lesser like a human being, so that your self-worth and self-esteem are completely chipped away, so that you don't go out there and find somebody else. So the more I chip away from you, the more control it gives me. And again, it's very strategic, because these women, even though they seem very confident, and a lot of the time they're going to be very beautiful and very charming, understand that nobody's ever home. All of that confidence is fake, even though they don't even realize it, because they live in a la la land where they create this narrative for themselves, where they truly believe the narrative. Which brings me into the next one: when they lie, when they gaslight. Understand that a lot of the time, these women, people in general, these narcissists, they believe their own lies, okay? Because they have recreated the story so many times in their head to fit their own narrative, where they are this positive character and everybody else is the villain that's against them. That is the narrative that they believe. And that is why a lot of the time when we present them with facts, or we have either screen recordings or voice conversations that we recorded, and we prove it to them that they did say certain things to us, that they were hurtful, that they were lying, that is why we see a shock in their face. Because understand what you're dealing with here, the mentality of a toddler, okay? This is an angry toddler that never feels safe in a relationship. You're dealing with somebody who has no capacity to be emotionally intimate with anyone, because to them it's a sign of weakness. Okay, they can never truly open their heart to anyone, because they're always on the lookout that the person is going to leave them, to betray them. And it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, where they will push you to that point where you finally do leave them, and they will point the finger at you and say, aha, I knew that was coming. And then you will have nothing but rage and anger in return. But you cannot confuse it with something like borderline, for example, because personality disorders have a lot of overlap. But understand that with a narcissist, the anger is always coming from a place of how dare you leave me, rather than please don't leave me. So borderline, you will have this infantile, I hate you, but please don't leave me. Please don't leave me. I will do anything for you. Narcissism will want revenge, but they will hoover you again to boost their ego, not because they love you, because love is just a word, and these people don't love anyone or anything in their life. Every relationship is transactional. You always have to remember that, okay? Now understand that when they want to suck you back into the relationship, it is so that they can boost their ego in a way where, I knew I could bring you back. And now I'm thinking in my head, now what else are you going to put up with? What else can I do to you? So that is how they think. That is the only reason why they're drawing you back into the relationship. And when they are drawing you back into the relationship, they can also even admit to their mistakes, because they're reverse psychologizing you. If I accept the fact that I was hurting you, if I actually admit to it, and if I say that I am going to get help, or you're better off without me, I'm so happy for you, I know all the pain I put you through, then in your head, you're going to think, am I leaving too soon? Am I giving up too soon? Because the whole point is to keep you hopeful, okay? And again, all of this is strategic. One thing I really want you to understand is that when we're dealing with women that are able to call the police on you and you get taken away and they feel no remorse, they feel like you truly deserve it, or if they can lie about things like having a miscarriage to bring you back. This is no longer just a simple narcissist. This is a sociopath. And this is much more scary because you're dealing with something very unknown when you leave her. You can expect the absolute worst because they're not going to stop anywhere to damage and destroy your life. So understand that narcissists never loved you. Okay. This is the hardest pill to swallow, but it's also the most liberating thing that's going to happen to you. When you truly sit with yourself and you process that this person never ever felt true deep connection with you, that everything that they did was to get you to fall in love with them by presenting to you everything that you want to hear. If none of that was genuine, and if you don't even know who this person is, then letting go should be a lot easier. Obviously, you're going to have to process anger. Obviously, you're going to have to process rage, maybe feel very stupid for what happened, maybe feel a lot of shame, but you have to let that go because if whatever you thought this relationship was never that, if everything was fake, then you need to understand that there's no point to get any closure. Because once again, this is a child, this is a toddler with insecurities, who doesn't know who they are, who's trapped inside of a grown-up's body. And you have the full right to leave this toxicity because, again, you're not here to save anyone. You're not here to heal anyone. You're not here to be somebody else's punching bag. It's just you're locking yourself inside of this cage, and you think that if you show her enough love and affection and attention, and she's finally going to trust you and finally going to let this guard down. But what's really happening is that she feels more vulnerable when you do that. And if she does open up a little bit, she's only going to attack you more for you making her experience this vulnerability. I want you guys to understand that there is no cure to this, okay? There is no magic pill. We can't fix this because even when narcissists take some responsibility and start going to therapy and truly want to change, there's such a level of shame that they have to face to truly look inward that they drop out very quickly. And even if they start to build that relationship with their therapist and are starting to open up, it's not going to reflect much in your relationship. You're not going to see much change. What else is going on through their head? So understand that a narcissist, every single day they wake up and no one's home and they write a new narrative for themselves. You know, this amazing life that I'm living where I'm the center of my universe. And that is why even when you tell them that you're breaking up with them and all of a sudden they're acting like nothing's really happened, that is because they're living in their own narrative, because she can't be the villain in her story. And even if she is the villain in her story, she thinks that it's fine because it's me, it's not you, we're not equal because I am up here and you're down here. Remember something I brought up before, it's that queen servant dynamic. That is how this woman thinks. Okay, so understand that there's no need to expose her. There's no need to communicate anything to her because it's not like she hasn't processed it. It's that she just doesn't care, okay? Because that empathy is gone. The empathy was never there. So if you expose her and if you're looking for some sort of closure, you're never going to get any of it. And that is that harsh acceptance. That is why we call it radical acceptance. Without any expectations for closure, without any expectations for understanding or acceptance of responsibility, you simply have to cut them out of your life because you're dealing with a mental disorder, okay? So always bring yourself back to that. Like, what are you trying to achieve here? You are trying to argue or prove something or get closure from a child, from a toddler in a grown-up's body. So your best case scenario is to simply protect yourself, to understand all of this. And when you really understand how she thinks and you're trying to leave her, you need to understand that she will try to hoover you because she doesn't, not because she loves you, but because she cannot accept the fact that somebody could ever break up with her. And then you need to understand that yes, it will be followed by anger. Yes, it will be followed by rage. If that hasn't started yet, it's because she still hasn't processed and connected with the simple idea that it's over, because she thinks she can bring you back. So whatever lie she's feeding you right now to bring you back, if you want to waste your time, well, you just need to kill the hope, and sometimes we need to waste more time. Now, I feel for you guys. I know that if this was easy, everybody would be out of these relationships very, very quickly, but unfortunately, these trauma bonds are very difficult to break, okay? And if you need help navigating this, once again, my scheduling link is in my bio, and please subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. So much love, patience, and understanding to each and every one of you, and I will see you all in my next video. Take good care of yourselves.